to welcome our new city administrator, Ms. Lorenz. Really excited for what the future will bring with you here with us, so we appreciate that. So let's just go into number 2. We have public comments, and I guess we're just going to start with the top. Please remember that you do have 3 minutes, and because I cannot keep up with the time, I'm not going to ask Mr. Corey to. So, Miss Melissa Lorenz.
Hi, my name is Melissa Lorenz. I live at 1530 State Highway 11, Winnsboro, Texas. Oxford defines integrity as the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles and moral uprightness. Bob Marley said, the greatness of a man is not in how much wealth he acquires, but in his integrity and his ability to effect positive change in those around him. Tony Dungy said integrity is the choice between what's convenient and what's right. People of integrity do not hide their reactions or their opinions. They do not manipulate others through deception, and they do not pretend. Author unknown. With integrity, you have nothing to fear, since you have nothing to hide. With integrity, you will do the right thing, so you will have no guilt. That's Zig Ziglar said that. I'd like to read a line or two from my one of my more recent TCEQ reports that I received based on a complaint that I filed with them. I highlighted this section. The investigators met with Mr. Charlie Little, plant manager. Mr. Matthew Hicks provided him with his card and explained the reason for the visit. Mr. Charlie Little informed the 2 investigators that the plant had not been operating since February 3rd, 2022 through February 15th, 2022, except for bagging chicken manure on February 12th, 13th, 2022 due to issues with the rotobelt. So, plant manager told the TCEQ investigator they didn't operate between February 3rd and February 14th. This is a photo taken February 7th. You can see the date and time stamp on the bottom. You can see the smoke, steam, whatever you want to call it today. This one is February 12th. You can also see the smoke, steam, and this one, that's the time date stamp from my cell phone camera. This is February 13th, a Sunday. Steam, smoke, spewing from the plant, obviously operating. This, in my mind, was one of the absolute worst days for the smoke. Valentine's Day, February 14th. Remember, Mr. Corning, the red smoke? We talked about the red smoke. That was Valentine's Day. That's still between these 2 dates. And then here's a night picture. I don't know if you'll be able to see it from there, but February 15th. You see the steam and the smoke coming up out of there. I just wanted to share that with you. Have one more thing I would like to say.
Time's up.
Okay.
I just asked a question on what date that letter is that you got.
Yeah, just hold on real quick. The date printed on the top of the letter here is February 28th.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is Mr. Jim Lorenz.
I'm not a public speaker, so this will be a little shaky. My name is Jim Lorenz. I live at 1530 Highway 11, Winnsboro. I'd like to start by, I don't know if there are any in here, but by recognizing my fellow Vietnam veterans here today on National Vietnam War Veterans Day. In 1967, I was drafted by the Army. I was trained as a combat medic. I left for Vietnam in January of 1967 as a member of the 1st Air Cavalry. I arrived just in time for the Tet Offensive. My government exposed us to the highly toxic chemical that causes many major health issues and has killed roughly 800,000 Vietnam veterans. That's almost 5 times more than the 58,000 that was killed in combat. I am a service-connected disability veteran because of Agent Orange. Now, 54 years later, I'm exposed to emissions from the Sigma plant near my home where I have lived for 23 years. We don't know what's in those emissions. We don't know the long-term effects. What we do know is that it is having a negative impact on the health and well-being of those of us that are exposed. I feel like I am being poisoned by my government again as they and you stand by and let this continue to happen. I'll be 75 years old in May. All I want to do is be left alone, mow my yard, sit in the backyard and watch my cattle. But I can't on most days because of Sigma. That's all I've got to say. Thank you.
The next person we have here is Winnie Thorne.
I'll go last.
Okay. Ryan Mayday, is that?
Murphy?
Murphy, I'm sorry.
All right, Ryan Murphy, 3682 State Highway 11. I have a question for the City Council. Does anybody have any very close family relations that work at or affiliated with the Sigma plant over there on All-Star Drive? Any of you?
Unfortunately, under public comments, we cannot comment back to or answer any questions back to the audience.
You can't give a fact?
When it is on the agenda under Sigma, or Sigma is on the agenda, then council can discuss with the audience any questions.
You can't state any facts though. Just on a question, we can just only go up here and say something. You guys can.
I'll refer to our city administrator.
Yeah, if it's not on the agenda, it's not eligible for discussion. This is really just for council to hear y'all's comments and feedback, and then they have the opportunity at a later date to put it on the agenda for further discussion if they so desire.
Can we put that on the discussion next week, whenever the next council meeting happens?
We'll have to just
Can
have
we-
a request
to-
to Angie,
to-
the city secretary.
That's back there.
There's a form.
Can I make that request right now in front of everybody so there's no confusion?
There's a form, I think.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Fill out.
Okay, well, I'll fill out the form right now.
Call City Hall and we'll put it on the agenda. Thank you. Sorry, but
I thought you guys could state facts.
They can understand.
Next we have Miss Jackie. I don't want to kill your last name. Stratos. What was it? What was your last name?
Jackie Strate.
Stratos. Okay. Sorry, I didn't want to kill your last name.
My name is Jackie Strate. I live at 503 Baber. I have a business at 302 North Main Street in Winnsboro. Okay, so I think you guys have a very serious problem on your hands with this plant. It stinks, and it is a lot of more people are complaining because they start smelling it. It's everywhere. We're not going to be able to hide it anymore. The way I see it is that no matter how much the Sigma plant try to be in compliance, it is impossible, because it's not possible to burn shit and not smell it. It's gonna stink. So that's a fact. So for me, I see it, you have basically two choices. Either you shut the plan down, blame it on Craig Lindholm, because apparently he was so bad and so corrupt, and get an attorney to represent the city. From Sigma, maybe they will retaliate. Or because apparently, Madam Mayor, your son is working there and he's benefiting from the plant, and you have not disclosed it to the city council.
I have to.
So we can't resume.
And so the problem here is that you are compromising the whole city because of that. And you should have recused yourself from the beginning. And you open up the whole city for litigation. And that's going to happen because property values are totally decreasing. People are backing out of contracts. I have 4 properties in town, and I am sad about this. And that plant is never going to stop stinking, even if they try anything. Be good to them. Stop them now before they spend more money and trying to get into compliance, because it's never going to happen. It's just absolutely never going to happen. They're going to have to put that stack like 100 feet up in the air, or maybe 200 feet up in the air, or a mile up in the air. But the thing is, the point is, it is bad, and that's the thing. So the two choices, it's the only thing I see it. Either close it down, or the city will be open for litigation, and that'll be sad. We don't want to spend money on our taxpayers' money on defending the city, right? Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. Phyllis. I'm sorry.
Shady Willis, 1268 County Road, 4470 Winnsboro. This is my father, Master Chief Freddie Phillips Fainhour. Today is Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. My dad served 25 years in the Navy, including in Tulagi Bay with JFK, on the Enterprise with John McCain, and unfortunately being involved in Dallas before, during, and after. I'm speaking at a college near Chicago in 12 days. Last year, I gave the memorial eulogy for JFK at Dealey Plaza. I don't speak in Winnsboro often on this topic, but one thing I did learn when I was at the Dallas Museum of Art, sitting next to Chief of Naval Operations, retired Presidential Medal of Freedom Honor, Admiral Zumwalt. He was the one responsible. He leans over, Bud and Musa sitting next to me, and he said, "I want you to finish your dad's book, because I finished a book with my son, and I'm the one responsible for Agent Orange. And I won't be long on this earth." And he died 3 months later. But he said, "I was misled by the manufacturer, but I had to own it because I was a leader. And after I'm gone, if you ever run into anyone that has suffered because of Agent Orange, he is profoundly sorry, and he owned it, and his own son died from it. We have children that cannot go outside. I know you're in an awkward situation with, like being, as Randy told me, being handed a baby with a dirty diaper. The Open Meetings Act, in fact, does state you can recite fact when people ask questions during public comments. And you've had that training, and I have too. But at this time, I want to ask a question I ask almost every meeting. How many citations have been written against the plant? You are allowed by law at this time to answer that question. How many citations have been issued? Can you ask the police chief? You can do it. You can't refuse not to. How many citations have been issued against the plant or warnings? And it's my understanding. What? No, I don't interrupt my 3 minutes. I have just a minute left. Stan Lowry has given advice to this city council to wait for the TCQ process. Stan Lowry does not understand this process. Each one of y'all are serving our community. You took an oath to uphold the laws of this city. You took an oath to uphold the laws of the state. You took an oath to uphold the laws of the federal government, Clean Air Act. Stan Lowry didn't take an oath. It's no skin off him. You took this oath. And you've been handed something you don't want, but do like Bud Zumwalt did, and be accountable and own it, and do something. I know there's no occupancy permit. The statement came back to me. Nobody else. There's lots of them down here. Well, that's the same theory in catching speeders. You can't catch them all. You got to deal with this one. Thank you very much for your time.
Person is Mr. Woody Thorne.
Woody Thorne, 1661 State Highway 11, Winnsboro. I lived in Virginia for 14 years. First, thanks for your service, and anybody else. I got sent over to that awful place too. Late, just before it was over. But I came back healthy. We lived in Virginia for 15 years. My wife was a teacher at one of the better school systems in the country. She earned her PhD up there. And she'd come home aggravated, and she would say, "How long is it going to be before we go back to Texas?" And I was able to say, "I can be ready in 30 minutes. And we came to Winnsboro because it was one of the top 5 recommended retirement cities in Texas. One of the top 5. We had a good life until about June of 2020. I used to go out and drink coffee every morning and watch the daylight come in Texas, in Winnsboro, Texas. And now I have to go out and make a big sniff before I know what I can do that day. I've worked on roofs. I've been run off because of the stench. I keep odd hours. Friday night, I came home at 11:30 from a town down south, and you couldn't see the sale barn from All-Star Drive. That's also where that man right there lives. At 11:30 at night. 1:30 at night. Their air permit says 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. And y'all hadn't done anything about it. And I think you're the only person on the council that says that she's never been able to smell anything down there. Everybody else that it has at some time has been able to smell that. It was there 3 days this weekend. We have cows 4 miles from the place down the road. You can smell it there. And I don't know, but I would gamble now that somebody on that panel has a relative working there. Thank you.
Excuse me, Peggy Embry.
This is just a complete Melissa statement. It says, last, may I stress the need for a courageous, oh, my name, Becky Embry, I'm sorry. I apologize. And I live at 3749 County Road 2426, Como. But I'm just as close to y'all as I am them. Anyway, back to it. It says, may I stress the need for a courageous, intelligent, and dedicated leadership. Leaders of sound integrity, leaders not in love with publicity, but in love with justice. Leaders not in love with money, but in love with humanity. Leaders who can subject their particular egos to the greatness of the cause. And that says MLK, So that's who actually wrote it. And then she says, be leaders of integrity. Thank you.
Next is Billy Barrett. Ms. Billy Barrett.
Lily Barrett, 3749 County Road 2426, and work at 1222 Highway 11 East. Thank you. What I wanted to address is I know you are getting testing done. We've been coming here for months talking about the same thing, and I know testing is something you said is going to happen. No update that we know of as far as when that's going to happen and how long that's going to take, which should have been months ago, so we wouldn't have been exposed to all this time. However, just with that, thank you for finally getting the testing done. And with that, just, we hope you are picking, I know it's a bid process that I don't really know about, but a company that's going to do the testing correctly, test for what they really should be testing for, and not just walk out and be like, okay, we're just going to check for particulate matter, and yep, there's some particulate matter. The things that really matter, like they talked about Agent Orange, the dangerous chemical contaminant and Agent Orange. Do you know what that was? Dioxin. Do you know what is a dangerous chemical that comes from the incineration of chicken litter? Dioxin. So with that, we just want to make sure the right things are being tested for, because just to come back and say, yes, there is particulate matter is not going to be good enough. So things like dioxin, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, I mean, I could go on. I have a long list. I will email it to the info at Winnsboro page. Just making sure the right things are being tested for, and it doesn't become just we're going to test it to appease them but not do it the right way. So that's what I just wanted to address. Especially with it coming into town, we have our business I no longer allow my children to go to. It makes us so sick. I'm not going to expose my children because it's even worse for children. So it's really sad to me. They've lived and grown their life there, farming. We can no longer farm our land. They can't come. But even as it was coming into town this week, Jackie lives right by the schools. So when she was posting, I know my kids are in school. They're going to go out to recess. It made me very angry. I don't want my child going out to recess breathing that air. I will not let them go outside in Winnsboro at our store because of this. So it's just ridiculous now that I don't feel comfortable sending my kids to school because they're going to go to recess and breathe these toxins. So I just hope you take it seriously. Thank you.
Okay, well, if any other public comments, do you have any more, Chief? Thank you.
I didn't use my full 3 minutes. Can I come back up there and ask another question?
I mean, you can ask it.
Okay, can you defer to the police chief, all right?
Yes, please come step forward.
To the police chief, were you guys told not to cite Sigma? At all? Then why haven't you cited them for what Mr. Parrish put in the Facebook post on March 12th? Clear violations of city ordinances. So you have, but I just want to make it clear that you guys haven't been told not to cite them.
Can I say one thing? I didn't get it. You have to get a card.
I just want to say one thing.
name's Crystal Embry. I live at County Road 4750, Winnsboro, Texas. Mine's short and sweet, but I just wanted to let everybody know the Sigma plant in the south, they were required to put a $2 million scrubber system in their facility. A scrubber system is a filter. It filters out all the toxins and all the pollutants. This plant does not have one. So everything that's going through in the incineration, they're blowing it to the air. I just wanted to make sure y'all understood that.
Thank you. Angie, you already had your 3 minutes.
Nobody wants to hear it anyway. You know, that's already stated.
Sir, we ask that you not speak to us.
You can already tell her, so.
Okay.
Just one more question.
I have a card, so if you could just state your name.
Curtis Funk. I have a business at 1207 East Coke Road here in Winnsboro.
Okay.
May I address the police chief? In that you haven't written any citations, what has to happen to write a citation?
It would be probable cause, and we will prove it in court, and we don't have all the test results.
But if you go out there, and you're invited to go out there, and people are coughing and gagging, you're not gonna write a report.
We can write reports, we've got lots of reports on this.
I thought you just said you didn't have any reports.
No, like you said, citations. We haven't written any citations.
Do you have any reports?
We have several reports.
How many reports do you
I
have?
couldn't tell you without looking it up.
Between 0 and 1,000?
There's somewhere in there.
Between 100 and 500?
But there's probably close to 75 or 80 of them.
And you haven't acted on any of them?
We go every time, sir. We
You haven't
respond every time.
acted on any complaint, just
We-
written it down and
we
put it in the file?
responded to every single time we get a call. We go.
But what do you do with it?
It's not roses out there, it's steam, and it's stinky.
What do you do with it? Just put it in the file?
We put it in the file.
After how many thousand are you actually gonna do something about it?
We'll get it, whenever the time comes, we'll do it. When we
What
have
time?
enough evidence,
What time?
when we have enough evidence.
But the 75 complaints you have is not,
Evidence, sir.
the 75 complaints are not evidence.
They're evidence, but when we have enough that we can prove, we'll do it.
Pretty slippery. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Okay, we'll move on to number 3. 3.1, consider contract for joint election services.
See you next month.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in approval?
Aye.
None opposed? Okay, motion carries. Is there any questions from the media, sir?
I'm not here in official capacity.
If that's the case, then the next regular city council meeting will be held on April 12th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. All requests to be placed on the agenda must be completed and turned into City Hall no later than noon on Monday, May 8th. 8 days before the scheduled meeting. There's no other discussion or request. The city council is now adjourned at 6:03 p.m.